5 cruise ships docked at Aruba's port today, bringing over more than 11,000 people. Plus, in today's lifestyle segment, a coffee shop where everything is free except for the time you spend there. And how cruise ship passengers' spending ultimately impacts the island. 15 on 15 starts right now. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. Downtown Oranjestad had an extra 10,000 people shopping and spending today. 5 cruise ships in total docked at Aruba's port. The Crown Princess behind me was one of them. Now, as great as this is for the island's economy boost in general, I caught up with a tour operator who says even with a higher volume of people coming out of the cruise terminal, it doesn't necessarily secure or guarantee business for tour operators. In total, the 5 cruise ships brought 11,551 passengers to Aruba. The 5 ships included Free Winds, Crown Princess, Vision of the Seas, Rindam, and Aurora. You would think this would be one of the busiest days for tour operators who depend on cruise ship passengers, but this wasn't necessarily the case.
I will say it's not exactly benefiting tour operators because it's like normally on a day like last week, Thursday, when they had Carnival and two cruise ship then, it was amazing. Everybody went out, every tour operators, tours, buses went out 2-3 times. But this is 5 cruise ship and it's limited because there's only one. I think most of them went out one time alone.
Patricio says passengers from the cruise are not always spending. Just like everyone else, they are looking for a bargain. Certain cruise ships bring over more affluent visitors, which benefits tour operators.
Look, the basic thing is that the people that they are bringing, the tourists that they are bringing are limited in cash, and that's the problem we have in every time, because they want to go. We have a steady price for $20, but when you get some cruise ships that does come here, the most of the time they want to go for something like $10, $15, and if you don't pay attention, they want to ask you for $7 tour. And look, the most of the tour operators here believe that Aruba worth more than even $30, but we charge $20. And like that self is a hassle to get people on the buses.
Businesses across the globe look for a certain clientele. In the case of tour operators, they look forward to welcoming certain ships.
I rather every week you got one Carnival ship, then every week you got a day like have 5 cruise ships like this. Because one Carnival ships is much more better than any one of these ships I'm here.
Now, since there were 5 cruise ships altogether that docked in Aruba, there's of course various angles to the story that we wanted to capture. We ventured onto the busy streets to see how land visitors and cruise ship passengers feel about the crowds when shopping. There were an extra 10,000 people in downtown today. A majority of them were cruise ship tourists, but there were also repeat land visitors. We find out whether the high volume of tourists impacts shoppers' experience.
I think it's great. It's wonderful for the island, and I've been coming to the island for over 20 years, and I love it. I love to see this many people downtown, because downtown's been kind of dead the past couple of years. So when the cruise ships are in, I think it's wonderful.
We kind of like the fact when it's busy and you go into a shop, you have the opportunity to look and browse around, so the salespeople aren't necessarily right on you the minute you walk in the door. So that's kind of nice for the return visitors.
Unfortunately, not everyone enjoys the hustle and bustle while souvenir shopping.
As an individual, I don't like the crowds, and so when you're traveling, it's always better to have 1 cruise ship in than 5. That's how it affects the economy here, or I guess it's good for the people who work here.
How do you feel this would benefit the merchants?
More people, more shopping, somebody's going to spend. I imagine it's going to suit them just fine.
Later on in the show, we'll discuss the positive impact of the high volume of cruise ship passengers for business sales. But before that, we'll come back with your lifestyle segment, where we have a very clever business venture. Also, we'll have the secret to a happy marriage, and it is apparently not having any children. We'll tell you more about that. and a bracelet that protects your skin from the sun. All that coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Today's show centers around the fact that Aruba had 5 cruise ships docking at the port today. Right behind me is the Royal Caribbean's vision of the seas. But for now, we're going to take a break from the cruise ship stories and get into your lifestyle segment. In this day and age, for a new business venture to be unique and innovative, it has to be really out of the box. A cafe business model in London is making headlines. The concept of the coffee shop could easily work and succeed in Aruba as well. So for the entrepreneurs out there, listen carefully. In this coffee shop in London, everything is free, except for the time you spend here. When you walk in, you take a clock and jot down the time on a piece of paper. You keep this piece of paper and clock until you settle your check. Customers pay a flat rate of 5 cents a minute, roughly ending up to $3 an hour, and that is regardless of the amount of teas, coffee, and biscuits you have. There is a small catch. The coffee shop is self-served. You can make up your own toast, coffee, and teas, but afterwards you have to clean up as well. Business model Zabablad, meaning clock face, started in Russia and has proven to be a success in the country with 10 shops operating. And switching gears, do you want to have a happy marriage? Well, don't have children. At least that is what a new study says. Researchers out of the United Kingdom interviewed 5,000 adults with different sexual orientation, background, etc. The results show that people are generally happier in their marriage and relationship when they don't have kids. The theory is partners in a relationship feel more valued from their wife or husband when there were no children around. In the interviews, the man or woman would say that they are getting the most satisfaction out of life from their children and not from their partner. Well, think about it. There's only so much time in a day, so the attention and effort adults put in will most likely be focused on their children rather than their significant other. So that is definitely food for thought indeed. There is a new piece of jewelry that every woman on this island could definitely use. Let's face it, the sun is your two-faced friend. One minute you are basking in its warmth, and the next your red-hot skin wishes you never stepped outside. Cue in the June bracelet. It is an innovative bling that protects your skin from the sun. This is the official video explaining how the June bracelet works. The accessory will tell you when you and the sun need some time apart. The bracelet's gem-inspired sensor uses its Bluetooth capabilities to connect with an app, which helps monitor the intensity of UV rays in real time and your total sun exposure for the day. Depending on your skin type and UV exposure, the app will recommend a plan of action to protect your skin, for instance, applying more SPF, wear a hat, or chill under some shade. Now, there is a downside to the June bracelet, and that is the tan line that you will ultimately get from wearing this piece of jewelry. The iPhone app to monitor your sun exposure is free. However, the bracelet sells for $99. The June bracelet will be out on the market by 2014 in the middle of it. We will have this when we come back. Stay with us. We are currently on the top floor of the Royal Plaza, overlooking many of the jewelry stores in downtown Oranjestad. Predominantly, these stores depend on cruise ship tourism to maintain their business. Now, earlier on in the show, we had a tour operator who said it isn't the high volume of tourists that gives their business a boost. It is certain ships and certain clientele who are willing to spend money on an island tour after departing the ship that keeps their business going. But unlike tour operators, shops downtown like these jewelry stores say the more, the merrier. The more people strolling Oranjestad, the more likely they will walk into a store and the greater chances they will have in purchasing something.
Cruise ships are always been good for our business because the more the customers come in, the more they buy. And 5 is good. Actually, the rush is good in the town. We like there is something happening in the town. It's always fine. More ships, the better it is.
It isn't only the souvenir shops and jewelry stores that cash out big on days where 5 cruise ships are docked and another 11,000 people are in town. Overall, every sector benefits. Restaurants will get a piece of the pie along with the bank and more.
Yeah, they do spend. All of them, actually. There is no such cruise ship which doesn't spend. More or less, sometimes it's slower, sometimes it's good, but they always spend. And a cruise ship is always better than no cruise ship in the town, because hotel customers are not coming to the town much now, since we have a lot of stores on the hotel side. So we are totally depending on the cruise ship business.
The profit that will be made on a busy cruise day creates a domino effect benefiting Aruba as a whole.
It's going to do good. These people are going to come out of the ship. Even if everybody spends $10, $15 on the food items, souvenirs, jewelry, everybody is going to get a share of the business. It's going to work it out, because so many people are there. You can see those small souvenir store owners. They're going to get the business, and they're going to eat here, they're going to buy souvenirs. So it's good for everybody. And of course, the government is also going to get some taxes. The banks are going to get their commission when the credit cards are run. So it is a win-win situation.
There was an estimated of an addition of 11,000 tourists in downtown Oranjestad today. We ventured onto the streets for our stories, as you witnessed, and it was hectic indeed, but seemed to be the kind of hustle and bustle that Aruba's merchants definitely approve of. That is our show for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here with a brand new edition of 15 on 15 on Thursday night starting at 7:15 p.m. So we will see you then.